Hello, Unity community, and welcome back to another official Unity live stream here on both twitch.tv/Unity and, of course, the official Unity YouTube page. My name is Jackson. I'm one of your community managers, and it is my job to bring you all of the live stream content that you find on these channels. It is our hope that you will join us for these live or watch them as a VOD after the fact and learn something, feel inspired by someone, and feel connected to the Unity community at large. So welcome on in, everybody. We have a fantastic show for you all today. Whether you're watching live on Twitch or YouTube, please remember that this is a conversation. Feel free to hop into the chat. Let us know where in the world you are tuning in from. It is one of the most fantastic things as a community manager to just see how far the reach of your community is all around the globe. So please let us know where you're tuning in from. If you are watching this video after the fact as a VOD on the YouTube channel, take a look down at that navigation bar. It will be chaptered out for you, so you can skip ahead to whatever portion of the stream most appeals to you. But hey, stick around and watch all of it. I promise it's going to be a good time because we've got some fantastic guests for you today. We've got some IGF award-winning guests for you all today. That's right. In just a moment time, we will be bringing people on that have created a fantastic game called the WereCleaner. Now, this team, young, smart, driven, fantastic, as I've mentioned. They're going to be coming on here to we'll get to know them a little bit, and then they are going to teach you all what they did, or I suppose show you all what they did to create a cleaning system for their game. Again, the WereCleaner creates a ton of carnage and then goes through and cleans it all up. So this is a presentation that we've adapted from something that they created as a session for GDC, and we said, hey, that's absolutely incredible. So you should come and do it for our live stream audience. So you all are in for a treat, as this is the only other place, aside from GDC, if you were there live, that you will be able to get a hold of this presentation. So very excited to bring them on. But before we do, again, would love to hear from you all in the chat. We love a lurker. We love someone who comes in and just throws the chat on, throws the stream on in the background. Absolutely fantastic. But if you want to pop into the chat and let us know where you're tuning in from, always a good time. We've got people watching on YouTube. We've got the Wamian. We've got Raphael. We've got the Bull, of course, Mal, Darkside. Everybody welcome on in, to name a few. We've got Christina and Sin hanging out on the Twitch side. Welcome, 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 everybody. Audio Eric's tuning in from Boston. Shout out to the Bruins. Breaking my heart every year, it seems, but that's a very niche reference at this point in time. Before we dive into things here, I'm going to throw a little survey in the chat. We did a survey through the month of January, learning a little bit more about what content you guys would like to see. However, this is a new survey. This is about what you would like to learn on these live stream platforms. Of course, we have some very engine specific things that we teach, but we also have engine agnostic things. Think about our speaker series teaching you about being an indie game dev in general. What would you like to learn? We're going to take all of your survey answers and responses and use them to inform the programming over the next few months as we look to ramp up our live stream presence from right now, Thursdays at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, and then next week it'll be 5 p.m. GMT. Thank you, Daylight Savings. To maybe Tuesdays as well every single week. So we would love to hear what you guys want to learn, and I'll see if I can pull together the right people in the right places to get you all of that information on these streams. Again, welcome on in, Unity community. Kick back and relax. You are in for a fantastic show today. We will have a Q&A. If you have questions for the team, ask them during the stream. We'll see if we have an opportunity to bring them forward, or we will have a Q&A session at the end if there's a abundance of curiosities. And since I've been talking nonstop for about 5 minutes straight, we're going to throw to the trailer for the WereCleaner so you can all see this incredible game. And when we come back, we will be joined by 4 members from the WereCleaner team. And with that, here is your trailer.
Meet Kyle. He's the best darn janitor at Howlin' Hugs. But Kyle has a secret. And he still has a job to do. Clean messes! Avoid coworkers! And if you can't control your urges, fix your mistakes! above all, don't get caught.
And we are here with the whole team. Well, 4 of the team. Welcome on in. We've got Mason, Cameron, we got Charlie and Abby. How is everybody doing today? Starting with you, Mason.
I mean, it's early for us on the West Coast, so not much has happened yet, but good.
Nothing's gone wrong so far today, then, right?
That's true. That's true.
That's the
Only way to
optimism we want
go
to see.
is hopefully up.
Of course, of course. Cameron, how you feeling? Thumbs?
Thumbs. I would say same.
Good, good.
I just woke up and I was also up at 1 a.m. So, yeah, yeah, living that best life. Just
Okay.
kidding. But yeah.
Charlie, you feeling all right here?
Yeah, I got a healthy 8 hours of sleep.
There you go.
Wow.
Woke up, but I am down with the conference flu after GDC, so recovering from that slowly.
Of course, of course. Bring in the responsibility, the 8 hours of rest. Well done, Charlie, leading by example. Abby, how many hours did you sleep?
You know, let's call it 7 if we round up a little bit. But we're doing good. We have water. We have like tangerine over here. We're ready to go.
Absolutely. I'm grateful that you guys are all here, of course, representing the team. The team was a larger team as far as student-made games are concerned, which the WereCleaner was. If you have not already, Unity community, we've put the links for it in chat. The game is available for free on Steam. It's also on iOS. Is it on Android platforms as well?
It is also on Google Play.
Go and check this game out.
Also on the Epic Store.
Yes, this is a multi-award-winning game made by a talented young group of students, which is absolutely incredible. For myself, the team won the Unity Student-Made Game Award last year. And I got pulled in, and I've told you guys all the story, you know, but I'm telling the Unity community this. I got pulled in as like, hey, we need people to play through these games. Let us know. Here's your scale, rate them, whatever. I was the first person on the team to play the WereCleaner, and I was like, this is something special, and passed it along to everybody. It got passed around. It was one of those where like I could have played it for 15, 20 minutes and been like, okay, I have done my due diligence on these student-made games and ranked them, but I ended up playing the entire game and did not stop until I finished it. I was enamored by it. I loved it. And then you guys ended up winning. Not necessarily because of me. There's a whole panel, but I'm so thrilled to have you all here. And congratulations on the success that you guys have seen so far. It's absolutely incredible. Was this the first game that each of you has created? Have you guys been making games kind of as you went through school before? Mason, we'll get started with you. Is this the first game that you made?
No, absolutely not. One of the games that I made before this, actually, I made with Charlie and Abby.
Oh, cool.
I'd say that this was probably third game shipped on Steam.
Nice. Very, very nice. So, Cameron, as the odd individual out of that team, have you shipped other games before?
No, I actually haven't, because this isn't. I was just like,
No, you
hello, I
have.
need to finish my minor. And so
Yeah.
that's all I needed to do. And I did usability
Very
for
nice.
Birds Aren't Real, which is another game. Yeah, sorry.
Oh, okay. So then you've contributed.
Yeah.
This is not necessarily a first, because I mean it happens where someone's like, "Hey, we're gonna make a game for the first time ever." I think if you guys are familiar with the game 1,000 Times Resist, I'm pretty sure everyone on that team, that was their first time making a game, and they crushed it. So like, it's not unheard of for you guys all to be still in school putting out a game of this caliber is absolutely impressive. So like I mentioned, the WereCleaner won the audience award at the IGF Awards last week. And we were watching live. You all ran up on stage. There was an army of you. It was fantastic to see. Can you walk me through a little bit of like just the emotions in that moment, hopping up on stage in front of not just your colleagues, but I'm sure people that have made games that you've looked up to for years and years and years. What was that like, Mason?
Oh, I know I was in shock. I don't think I was feeling much of anything. It was just like, oh God, this is happening? What?
Yeah.
What's happening? Oh, okay. Time to go up, say something? Oh God.
And I think you did fantastic. Like hopped on that mic, took charge. It was incredible.
I blacked
Cameron,
out.
you blacked out. No memory of that moment. We sent you a
No.
picture, and you were like, "Oh, this happened."
That happened.
Yeah, it was great. No, I loved it a lot. Cameron, were you up on stage with everybody as well?
Cameron.
Yeah, I was hiding behind Moose. I had the plushie. I was just like, holy frick. I
Nice.
was insane. Going insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah.
Inevitably high emotions at the moment. Charlie, walk us through it. Where was your head at that moment?
Yeah, so it was really funny because we were sitting next to Lucas Pope. Like he was at the table right behind us, who is obviously like a tremendous indie creator. So that was really cool to win an award in front of him. But the way that I tell it is we lost the student award, which is the one that, we felt most confident in, obviously, because like that's the one we were nominated for. And I think that we all got a little sad. We put our jackets back on, so we had the WereCleaner shirts. We were like, oh, okay, like, time to sit through, 2 hours of award show. And then when the audience award came up, we all knew, I think, that it was maybe a possibility, but we didn't fully expect that we would win it. So when it happened, I see Moose jump 10 feet out of his seat. All of us look around at each other and go, what? Like, did they actually just say our name? And we kind of, funnel our way onto stage and then won it. So it was a very cool moment. I think very exciting for all of us to win it in front of creators that we really respect. And the team for at least an hour or two afterwards was still just like shaking with shock.
I can only imagine. It's got to be like so exciting, but as you've all kind of described, a little intimidating hopping up on that stage. Abby, what was going through your mind as you hear the WereCleaner called as the winner to that award?
Well, I was not, in fact, at GDC. I was actually watching it live from a restaurant in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico.
Oh, that's right. You were on vacation. Everyone,
Yeah, on vacation.
As we were prepping this,
you could have gone to GDC.
Yeah, make sure you get your work done on vacation.
So how
we
was just watching it live? And
different
it was crazy.
experience for you.
Like, yeah, it was funny. It was just like, oh, we didn't win a student. Cool. And I'm like, I don't know, like eating an appetizer or something. I look over. Wait, why are we on stage? What?
So did you miss the actual announcement of when your team won and then just notice they were all on stage?
Basically, yeah. I actually paused the stream and then I was like, wait, I'm curious who won grand prize. I turned it back on. Moose is on stage. I had to like scrub back in the timeline. I had no idea what even we won.
That's fantastic. Again, congratulations, you guys. Incredibly well earned. Like I mentioned, multi-award winning game here, the WereCleaner, and the team is with us. You were a student-made game, and obviously multiple games come out of that program. You guys are all kind of grouped together. Did you have any agency in picking your team? Like Mason, as creative director, did you go around and assemble the dream team? Was it just chance that they were like, hey, we've randomly assigned all of these people and you just ended up with gold? How did the team formation happen?
It was a lot of interviewing. It was a lot of interviewing. Started making the team like basically a month after, well, 2 weeks after Greenlight, where we figured out, oh, okay, we're good to go for next year of, okay, time to start assembling a team. It was like hour-long interviews with all of the people who was like, okay, maybe you could be a lead on the team. And then 30 minutes to an hour interviews with everyone who could be crew. And there were 35 people on the team in the end.
Yeah, that was a big team.
Yeah, it ended up inflating over time. But luckily not by much. We wanted to keep it not humongous like a few of our predecessors. But yeah, no, luckily Charlie was with me through a lot of the actual interviewing, because otherwise I would have gone insane. There was so much interviewing.
So it must have worked. It must have paid off. Like looking at the game, independent of its success, like just looking at the game and having played it myself, it's such a fun and engaging game. If you are all joining us, Unity community, in the middle of, as we're flying through this here, we are joined by the WereCleaner team here. They created a game called the WereCleaner, and in a moment's time, they're going to be taking us through a adapted version of their GDC presentation, talking about how they created their cleaning mechanics in the game. You can see the B-roll rolling right now. Absolute absolutely incredible. Man, Kyle the WereCleaner is just adorable. I love Kyle.
Such a little guy.
I'm not afraid to say it. And you have plushies. Well done. Way to get at it. None for Cameron. That's okay too. We're just happy that you're here.
It's
Before
upstairs. I'm sorry.
It's
in the
upstairs.
building, but it's not in the room. Understood. Don't worry about it. The WereCleaner has been played by, you were telling me just before we started, over 1.5 million people. 1.5 million people. It's currently boasting a 10 out of 10 on Steam with over 9,000 reviews. And now you've won an IGF award to add to your trophy case, essentially. Do you have your own personal metrics of success? Like, what are you tracking? What are you hoping for? What of these accolades means most to you? And let's just go straight down, Mason.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, someone on the team, our narrative lead, actually, I think put it the best in terms of what actually matters to me, actually, where it's the things that we hear from folks who've played where, like, we ended up getting a comment in the Discord server a while ago, which ended up basically amounting to, like, you guys inspired me to keep creating and, like, keep making games. And that kind of impact is more of what matters. Even it might sound hokey, but, like, it means so much to just have that kind of impact on people. Like, that's I think why a lot of us keep making games, and, like, why we're so interested in continuing to make games. The connection with the audience.
As a community manager, you're speaking my language. Absolutely. Cameron, do you have, are you aligned with Mason entirely? Do you have anything else that sticks out in your mind?
I don't think I could say anything better. I would say also I think it's the people that I got to work with. I think having had the team that we did, I was, regardless of what would have happened, I was so happy to have worked with everyone that I did get to work with, and so that made me very proud of what we did. And so having all these accomplishments come with it is kind of like, oh, a nice little topping on top. It's very humbling and nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Charlie, looking to you. What, if any of these means most to you?
Yeah, like, I know that internally for a little bit during the project, I at least wanted the game to be as successful as the previous most successful AGP from the last year, which was this game called Try Again. And they had around like 1,000 reviews on Steam that were all very, very positive. And they also went to IGF. And I was thinking in my head, like, oh my gosh, like if we could go to IGF, if we could win something, like that would be the most like glorious dream of a student game team ever, right? Like that would be the perfect way to cap out our college careers. And we won that, and that was very exciting. But I think I really agree with Moose. Like the moments that are most surprising to me are not the award wins. They're the times when people come up to us and they tell us personal stories about the game. One of my favorites of recent was this person named Kevin, who was one of the audio designers on Celeste. Came up to us during the award show, and he was like, guys, my wife loves your game and I love your game. We're hard rooting for you. And he's just the nicest person of all time. And he was just explaining like all the fun little moments that he had in the game. And eventually I heard that he came around to our booth and like tried to show us speedrun text that he had been like researching and creating. And he like showed us bugs that he had found in the game because he was doing these speedrun texts.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and it's like for someone to care that much about your work and what you made, I mean, that is really why you do it as a creator, like Moose said. So those are the moments that are most satisfying to me, even though all of the awards have obviously been super nice and validating.
Yeah. Yeah, Abby, I mean, incredible story. And shout out to Kevin. I mean, it seems like we all love Kevin. We have a private chat that happens for the production, and everyone's in there like, we mentioned Kevin. We love Kevin.
He was amazing.
Abby, do you have your own Kevin? Is there stories or accolades that really mean a lot to you?
I mean, it's what everyone has already said, but my own Kevin, I guess, is sort of my family. So
I love that.
I think it's really cool to make a game that both my like 5-year-old cousin really liked playing, but my mom could actually beat like half the game. She only plays like Maps 3 stuff, a lot of like very casual games. And she was like, yeah, I can actually play this. So making something that is both fun and accessible enough that people can actually just jump in, that was crazy. That was like, wow, okay, the fan likes it.
Yeah. and then they were like, "You've done such a great job. Go to Cabo on the company card." So it's clear you've done something right. This game has kind of crept up in my own circles in other weird ways, and every time I'm like, "Oh, I played that game and I helped it win an award." It's, again, I have like a real main character syndrome. It's not my responsibility in any way. But as we were getting ready for the IGF awards, I was like, "Oh, we're working to get this live stream together with the team." And one of the guests that we had on was like, "I was playing it on my phone before we started." And then there was another one. I'm a big fan of a media outlet called Kind of Funny, and they were on. They have a moment where they're like, "Hey, we're just gonna read out the super chats and have a conversation." And someone in there, I don't know if it was you guys, was like, "You need to check out this game, the WereCleaner." And so, it felt like just such a, like, some of the way they manage the conversation is usually just like, "Okay, thank you for your message." But on this one, they're like, "Hold on, what is this game?" And like pulled out his phone and went through and downloaded it. I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm looking at this. This is pretty cool." And then installed it. And I was like, "How's this happening right now? This is so cool." Like, and here I'm sitting here like, "Oh, this is a pretty, it's a student made game. It's a small team." No. Oh, 1.5 million. And I'm just occasionally reminded like, no, this is like gotten out there. This is like in the public consciousness, which is so, so cool. We've also got some congratulatory messages happening in our Unity community live stream chat right now. Like Cool Like a Ninja says, "We love accessible games." Mr. Nev says, "When you can make something your mom can play, you've made a good game." So Unity community, if you have questions for this team, I know we've already got one from the Bull, of course. If you have more questions, feel free to throw them in chat. If we can find a moment as we're flowing through here to ask them, we will. Otherwise, we'll circle back at the end of the stream for some community Q&A. Again, thank you to all of you for being here. Absolutely incredible. I know you are incredibly busy bouncing around all over the place, but we're going to kind of hand the reins over to you a little bit. The stage is set. The floor is yours. We're going to dive into your presentation here. Wonderfully titled, "A Bloody Mess, Implementation of Cleaning in the WereCleaner." Absolutely incredible. The floor is yours. Allow me to occasionally interject and derail, but I'll do my best to sit here quietly and listen, because this is an awesome presentation in Unity community. You got some cool stuff to learn right here.
Heck yeah. Well, I guess I'll start us off because, yeah. Well, you already said it. A bloody mess. Implementation of cleaning in the WereCleaner. So this is just going to go over all our cleaning mechanics, basically the power washer, mess objects, best surfaces. You'll see. But anyways, yeah, a little thing about WereCleaner. You kind of already heard it. You saw the trailer. But you play this little guy called Kyle. And Kyle is a janitor. Kyle also has to work a night shift at a company. And that's not great because Kyle's also a werewolf. And that's really unfortunate because Kyle is the type of werewolf that turns every single night. So working a night shift, being a werewolf, not the greatest combo. So you have to play for an entire week, cleaning up messes and doing a whole bunch of stuff, avoiding coworkers. And if you do see a coworker, you might accidentally kill them. Who knows? We'll see.
Well, there's no
Play the
mind
game.
about that.
Yeah, awesome.
You will immediately murder them.
Yes. No choice in the matter.
Yeah, you will immediately, yeah. And you'll also find Daryl. Yeah, you'll get to talk to Daryl, who's pretty cool, in my opinion. Kinda. He's kinda crazy too. But anyways, yeah, this game was brought to you by a team of 35 students. We're not all from USC. We're also from Cal State Fullerton and Otis College of Art and Design, except all of us here, we're all USC grads, or currently at USC. Anyways, you can play the WereCleaner on Steam and iOS, and also the Google Play Store and Epic, which is really awesome. And yeah, as Jackson mentioned, we have garnered over 1.5 million players. I actually just found that out today, which is crazy. And it's super awesome to just see that so many people really like our game, which is I appreciate. We all appreciate. We've gotten really cool awards, such as winning IGF Audience Choice Award. We won Best Student Project last year. We were also a finalist in iPhone Game of the Year, and several others, all of which we are incredibly thankful for, and really couldn't have done without the support of our friends, our family, peers, and literally all of our players. It's so awesome to see just the love and support. Yeah, so a little bit about us. I'll go first, and then we'll go down the line. My name's Cameron. Most people call me Cammy. It's a lot of different nicknames, but I was the lead engineer for the WereCleaner, so I managed our code base, our engineers, and our weekly builds. I worked pretty close with our design, audio, and art to ensure that we had certain features and assets properly included into our builds, and I would also help out a little bit with bug testing.
Charlie.
But Charlie, you can go. You can introduce yourself.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah. Hi, I'm Charlie. I was the lead producer of the game. I basically did all of our scheduling, led a bunch of meetings, and made sure that people did not go insane during the production of it. So
It's not an
that's
easy job. That's a
no,
big
it is not
responsibility,
easy,
Charlie.
but it was a very fun one. On to Abby.
Hello, I'm Abby. I did marketing on the game, actually. So a lot of the publishing stuff, Steam management, things like that. And then I did a bunch of the engineering for basically shipping it to different platforms. So the iOS build, did a bunch of work on that. Epic Games, Android, all that. And I'm also, fun fact, the person who gets killed in like, I think the 5th day by getting crushed by a forklift in the game. So that was me.
You also get a memorial.
I
You
do.
get a lot of
It's very
runtime.
sweet. I didn't know that was in the game until I saw it, and I was like, "Oh, that's me."
That's so
Really?
At the memorial, at least. Now that was fun.
Wow.
Thank you, Moose.
All right. And then I'm Mason Cyberwall. I also go by Moose. And I was the creative director. Kyle is mine. And helped put together the whole team. Kept the ship on course with Charlie's lovely help. And yes, I don't know. I don't have anything else.
That's good. You
Cameron.
did it. You crushed it. So like you're all in the game. These pictures, these
We're
images
all
are
in the
not
game.
just like, hey, just for the presentation, wouldn't it be neat? But like you're all
We're all
characters in
killable.
the game, and I think it's so fun.
We're all killable.
Uh-huh.
We're all Go and find us. You'll see us. Not for very long,
Don't kill
but
us.
you'll see us. Yeah. You'll kill us. I'm gonna play a really quick video. I don't know if the audio will appear. If it does, hopefully it's not too loud. I
It
might try
doesn't
to
need
speak
to.
over it, but let's see.
It's not.
There's no audio. It's all good.
Good.
Way
It's
to kill
okay.
me.
Just imagine it in your head. I know. I killed Moose first. He was the perfect kill. And as you can see, I actually killed several people. I wanted a perfect shot. I needed my perfect shot. Anyways, that short clip shows you basically all the things that we're going to talk to you about today. Power washer, mess objects, and mess surfaces, with mess objects and mess surfaces making up that bloody mess you saw. And the reason being is that these are features that we are pretty core to our game. Without it, I don't think it would be WereCleaner. And we took the time to kind of figure out how we want to polish these features because we want to make it feel good. You want to feel good when you're power washing a bloody mess. And so the power washer started off like with a simple particle system, and now it's a very full-blown mechanic, watery system. It makes little nice popping sounds if you hit certain walls and stuff. And then for the mess objects, they used to be simple shapes, and now they're very bloody blood splats all over the ground, all stylized by an artist. And then we have mess surfaces, which you can't necessarily see, but it's the tool that designers can use to select where and how much blood should appear over our entire map. So to begin, we'll have Abby start going over the power washer.
Amazing. So, as Cami mentioned, the power washer started off kind of rough. So you can see this footage here, and I can go into all the technical reasons why this isn't up to snuff and has issues. But I mean, look at it. It doesn't really look like water. There's the vaguest sense, but it doesn't match the art style. It doesn't have a shape. It is very clearly we put 2 particle systems on and just kind of set them to go. So we knew that we had to actually make some changes. Where to go next? What do we do with this? Well, Moose here, as he does for most of the game's mechanics, concepts like this, started with basically a paint over. So this is a basically hand-drawn 2D overlay on top of the game of what do we artistically want this to look like? And through this kind of process of iteration, we got it down to a shape with a bright outline, cell shading on it to match the game, a bit of wobbly animation back and forth, and of course, some beautiful bubbles. All of this is very different than just a stream of particles getting shot out. So how do we actually do this? How do we actually make it happen? Well, a few things. First of all, we figured, okay, we need a solid shape for this. We can't just make it out of particles. So what are the constraints that we actually apply to this? Well, if we look at this little side by side of Kyle, you can see that there's a start position, a start direction, an end position, and an end direction. And all these things matter a lot because the power washer has to adapt to different surfaces. If you start spraying a couch, it shouldn't go through the couch. It should go on top of the couch. If you spray at a wall, it should go onto the wall. If you spray on the ground, it should be the ground. So there are all these constraints that we have to consider. So what we ended up doing was, as the title suggests, generating the shape. Here you can basically see our process. So to start, we basically create a couple rings at even intervals along the length of the power washer. In this case, we chose, 5 different rings, starting from the hose, ending at the ground. And the idea is that we can take that start position, end position, start rotation, end rotation, and kind of sort of IK the rings into the right place so that it properly matches the arc that we want. Once we have that, we can start to do some actually fun stuff with it. So, on the next slide, there we go. We can basically actually build a mesh out of this. So the game in general with all the models is pretty low poly. We don't do a super high density model or anything like that. So all we can do is make a very simple triangular mesh, connect the different rings from segment to segment, gradually increase the poly count for each one, just that it's a little bit bigger and scales appropriately with the end being bigger than the start. And here we go. We have a beautiful little mesh. But now we can start doing some fun things with that mesh. Look at this. We can basically control essentially how many segments we actually make. It's the density of the shape itself. And here you see a very cool animation of let's crank it up, let's make it high res, and then let's start twisting. Let's change the rotation a little bit, interpolate it, and we get this nice twisting shape. It's no longer just a cone, it actually has shape, it has body to it. And that's a lot
We
more
used
what we want
animation
because
curves.
yes, we did use animation curves just for artistic sort of control, stuff like that. We do this a lot in the game, actually. Any places where we're going to have some type of smooth value, we throw a curve on it, and it makes it easy for designers to work on it without having to change code. And this really helped us dial in the look. I mean, look right here. We increase the density, and then we curve it, and suddenly, wow, we have this beautiful little shape. But the shape is only part of it. We also have to, check out how do we render this? How do we make it work? So we get into performance, of course. And there's a lot of ways that you could end up implementing this effect. The probably correct way to do it, the proper way would be to make a vertex shader that actually dynamically sets up the mesh on the GPU, properly aligns it, does all the transformations there. It would probably be very efficient, very simple. But it turns out generating the mesh on the CPU, just building it through normal C# code, is very cheap. 0.08 milliseconds to actually generate, 0.02 milliseconds to upload, which, hey, that's pretty good. Like in total, that's 0.1 milliseconds. At 60 FPS, the game is running at, what is that? Like 8, I think, milliseconds total. So it is a very, very small fraction of our budget. That's the translation of all the technical lingo. And this is kind of the benefit of profiling, and one where Unity plus Visual Studio is a powerful combo to actually see how fast is your code, how well does it run. And because of this, we knew we didn't have to optimize further. We could just do this and move on to the visuals. How do we make it look good? Well, recall again the paint over that Moose did. We want this kind of outline on the edge that masks out the actual shading in the center of it. And to do this, we did something called the inverted shell technique. And there are some issues with this. It is an approximation to create an outline around an object, but this is a case where it is very, very useful. So on the next slide, you can see what this actually does. You basically have a base color. That's the color that we saw right there that makes up the entire mesh. And we basically create an inverse shell where the only things that actually get shaded are inside of that shell. With a lot of objects, with a lot of normal implementations of this would have a lot of problems. It would look bad, it would flicker on the edges, but because we're using this in this very specific case, and with the CPU-generated mesh, it looks great. And because we are treating this as an actual 3D model, we can just use the game's normal shader. We have this 3-tone style cell shader that adds 3 bands of color for every object. We can just slap it on here, and look at that. It looks great. It looks just like the art, more or less. And we were able to dial that in quite a bit with all those parameters. But okay, we're not done yet. We have to animate this thing. We have to make it actually move, make it look good, get it to shake. There we go. So all we can do.
That looks very fun. If you want to take your time on this slide, I'm gonna sit here and just enjoy the water flow. It's fantastic.
Just watch it.
It's very satisfying. We need like a 10-hour loop of this or something.
Yeah.
Well, the way we actually do it is pretty simple. Remember how we're making the entire mesh on the CPU? Well, we can just update that every frame to adjust it with the animation, and there we go. So if you kind of think about what's happening here, remember how we have multiple essentially disks side by side? We can just shift those at some type of rate, and there we go. We have this wobbling motion. Super simple, and it looks pretty nice. But there's one more thing that we can do, because this is just for when you're shooting the water itself. But what about when you start? What about when you stop? Well, when you start, it has to shoot out. And when you stop, it has to sort of catch up and stop flowing altogether. Again, very simple. We basically just set a cutoff point where, oh, we don't render these specific segments of the mesh. And there we go. We control which end is being cut off based on if you're starting or if you're stopping. And it looks great. It's simple, it's all on the CPU, and it's fast. And finally, one last little thing. What about bubbles? Well, bubbles, we actually fall back on particle systems. We love Unity. And we can do a lot of very cool things here. We create a couple little spheres, we shade them according to our games, that it's cell shaded again. And finally, we put them in two places. First, locked to the base of the power washer in basically local space. And then trailing behind it in world space. And this gets this effect where the bubbles kind of linger, but they do also follow the actual end because it does both. So tying it all together, what does this finally look like? Well, it looks like this. There we go. Fully in motion. And look at that. It adapts to the environment. You shoot it at a wall, it goes to the wall, it snaps properly. It just totally works. And it really didn't have all that many edge cases. We thought there would be problems. No, it did great. And this is not something that I made, for the record. The guy who made it, Levi, who's not able to be here today, he's the GOAT. He's so good at this stuff.
Truly,
I met
I have to
Levi.
give the shout
Good
out.
energy with Levi. I love that you're like, so we tried all this stuff and we were like, I think this is gonna work, and it just worked the first time. Crushed it. I like it.
Yeah.
It's not often you hear that side of the story. I like it a lot.
It's good when
Hey,
things
it's a team
work.
of great people. We love
I
what
love it.
everyone does here. Like
Mhm.
it just worked.
Aces in the
and-
right places is what we say.
And just wait for the next part of the presentation where we show you all of the iterations we had to take for
I
some
like
of these
that
other
too.
things.
So many.
Lots. And yeah, we're gonna start off with our bloody messes. Look at how nice and simple and flat they look. Look, they're all simple shapes, and that's just what we started with. Levi actually, that was the first prototype that we made during like pre-production, so that was over our summer. And yeah, as you can see, that the bloody messes that you are power washing were very simple flat circles, and basically when you knew that you cleaned it up once they kind of shrunk and you couldn't see it any longer, and that makes it pretty nice. You know, we liked that effect. But circles may not give the most best impression of blood. It's red, so we know it's blood, maybe. But how can we stylize this more to kind of give like a really nice, messy effect, right? And so that's where we came up with atomic messes. And our atomic mess system, which is actually designed by Levi too, takes the idea of these atomic blood pieces, which are just kind of like these single quads with a texture and a collider, and we compose them together to make up this kind of blood of all these atomic blood pieces, as you can see with the composite blood prefab. And they're all these little tiny pieces all stuck together. And so when the power washer actually hits one of these pieces, and with the power washer, it has like a collider at the end as well, it has this really nice like wiping away effect. So think of like if you're wiping away a stain really, really slowly, I don't know, ketchup, for example, and you kind of like take the edge and you're like cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. That's what we get, which is like this very natural cleanup progression. As you can see with the cleaning progression, it takes these pieces bit by bit, and it kind of gives that really nice natural cleaning. And so it makes it very satisfying to even clean up a mess. But what the system really allows us to do is kind of change the way that all these messes can look. That gives artists kind of this full range of like, hey, I want this splat or this splat. And it makes it really cool and fun because you can actually have a wide range of different looking messes. They won't all look the same. And it's also easy on the engineering side because, as I said, these are just quads. So all we have to do for an engineer is just replace it with a texture. And that's it. And it makes it really easy, very scalable, and simple for that kind of art to engineer implementation. However, we always have to play test, and when we play tested, we noticed a few issues. We saw that blood would sometimes get stuck, as you can see, under a carpet or behind some object that the player couldn't see, and they would be like 99 out of 100, almost very, very close to being done. And so that kind of sucks because they're like, I can't find this one piece, and it'd be like this one fragment of a piece left over. Or sometimes actually blood would get stuck on top of walls where the player cannot reach with the power washer at all, and so you'd have to restart the level. And that was really unfortunate. So we came up with 2 solutions, an auto clean system and what Abby will talk about shortly after, mess surfaces. The right GIF is actually showing the auto clean system where basically we have a threshold, we set that threshold for a mess, and if there's a frame where the player isn't actually cleaning the mess, but the mess is over that threshold, we have a manager that says, hey, you're practically almost done to being completed and cleaned. Go ahead and clean up yourself. And so as you can see on the GIF, that's what happens. You get very, very close to that and that threshold, and then it cleans up itself, which is very nice. It makes it actually great for speedrunning. If you ever wanted to do that, we do have a very nice speedrunning community, so shout out.
That's
But
cool.
it also helps with the player to kind of, give that ease of not having to complete the entire mess. But yeah, we have best surfaces.
Cameron, I want you to know that your team is being so respectful to your presentation and your work. There's chaos happening, but instead of just saying it, they're putting it in the private chat. There was a whole conversation happening around blood versus ketchup versus paint. That was incredibly entertaining. We can have those conversations, but I get it. We're trying not to distract the team. So like, I just want to say this team has worked so well together every step of the way. Keep it up.
We don't want to screw
That's
you up,
awesome. I mean,
Kevin.
no, and I appreciate that, Moose, because you know what? I will read those comments, and I will laugh. And giggle.
You can
Sometimes
read
you
them
just
now
gotta
since
hit.
Happy's now going.
Oh my god, I have to start talking and not goofing off in the chat.
Exactly.
Ah,
Well, as Cameron sort of teed up, there are problems with how we actually spawn the blood. There are a few issues here. And with a lot of these features, you start with the simple solution and then it doesn't work and then you try again. So in our case, the simple solution is take a point in space, raycast outwards, basically in a sphere, find the closest walls and just spam a bunch of the red paint on the walls. And there we go. It's perfect, right? Not so much. If we look at the next slide, there's 2 types of problems. First of all, hidden blood. Look at that chunk on sort of the, I guess, bottom left wall. It is essentially being covered up by the wall. Because of how our camera is set up, you have no way of seeing what exactly is being obscured, but the player might go to wash it, and because of the atomic blood system, there might be little spots left over that they just don't see. Big problem. Second one is more visual. Look at the top right corner with these pieces of blood sticking over the wall. Doesn't look great, could be better. So we had to iterate. So attempt number 1, we created a very cool system called mess surfaces. And the concept behind this is let's only allow messes to spawn on specific sections. You can see here these sort of pinkish orange rectangles that have been manually placed all across the room, on the ground, on the picture frames. And you might notice that they are only placed in places that you can see from the camera perspective. So there's none on the walls at the bottom that are being obscured, none on the inner walls, only on the outer walls. And if we actually go to spawn them on the next slide, well,
it's so clever. Like, having played it, I was like, my brain didn't even connect that, and I tend to play games in a very analytical way. Like, it's such a clever solution. I'm not sitting there. It didn't even connect to me for 1 second. This is so cool.
Oh, exactly. It's a big system, which again I did not make. Levi made. Shout out Levi.
Shout out Levi.
But no, really. But it's the sort
Shout
of
out
thing
Levi.
where you don't see it. It is invisible, but it is only invisible after a few more iterations. We're not done yet, I swear. Because if you actually go and spam a bunch of these, you can place them down, as you can see here, and it's a better effect. You don't have it obscured, you don't have it cutting over, but there are still problems. On the next slide, we can see. Let's take a step back. There are issues with how this looks. It's super patchy, it doesn't extend all the way up, and it's a very sort of empty mess as a whole. And the messes in the final game are a lot tighter and a lot more cohesive, which is a problem here. Yeah,
as a
patchy blood.
dictator, I wanted more.
Can't have that
Yep,
patchy blood.
Moose demanded more blood. He demanded it.
Demanded more.
So we had to go to attempt number 2 to solve some of these cases. And attempt number 2 was a different method. Let's not recast anymore. We already have these surfaces that we know are available to put blood on. Let's just go through the surfaces, pick a random point, stick some blood on there, and there we go. There is still also a raycast that has to happen. And of course, we add a distance check to make sure that it doesn't, extend out of the room, get too far away from the center. But this is a little bit better. Let's see how it looks without the overlay. Okay, it's better. We have more density, we have a bit more cohesion. It's actually covering some of the small spots on the wall, like on top of those pictures. But it is not perfect. It is still patchy. It has all these holes. And the reason for this are some, next slide, edge cases. Very pun intended. Essentially, there are a few places within a layout that cause blood to not properly connect across multiple spaces. You can see this first example on the left. There could be a rug next to a piece of floor, and blood shouldn't spawn that because they're at different heights. So we have to cut off that. But there are some where two pieces of floor are next to each other. They are the same height, so we should spawn. And then, of course, we have walls. There should be sort of a wrapping effect where it curves around and doesn't leave a gap in between the two pieces. So how do we fix it? That's right, custom editor. If we go to the next slide, we built a tool that works inside of the Unity editor view that allows us to manually place these, which we were already doing, and then configure what each of the edges would do next to the other edges. So here you can see 3 cases: no spawn, yes spawn, and wrapping, and those correspond to the colors in the image. This pinkish orange is no spawn because you don't want blood to span from the carpet to the floor. Pink is wall wrapping. You want it to wrap around the edge. And green is where you can actually go across multiple surfaces. And because of this, if you go to the next slide, this looks way better. Now, some of you might be saying, okay, it still looks patchy, but that's kind of the intention. It looks better to have it patchy in this case than covering the kind of gap between the floor to the ground, the floor to the carpet, etc. And this is kind of the effect that we want. In gameplay, this is what we arrived at, and it looks pretty good. But there are a few more changes. If we go to the next slide, well, we have to play around a little bit. Playtesters kept finding these places where they would go into a corner of the game, or they would get stuck between 2 objects. They would kill a person, and no blood would appear because there were basically no valid spaces. So, real simple, on the next slide, we just take the radius, extend it, and try again. Keep going until every single piece of blood is placed. And this is important because the amount of blood that we spawn is basically the difficulty of the mess, because it takes longer to clean up. It becomes more of a liability if other NPCs see it. So it's very important that that's consistent. And that's what we arrived at for the final game. It just works with a massive asterisk this time.
Yeah. I mean, Abby summed it up very well. And this video is essentially just the same video that I showed in the beginning. But kind of just now you have the knowledge. Oh my gosh, the video paused. Now you have the knowledge of kind of all these different effects and how important it is to our cleaning system. Really, all of it together makes up that very nice, satisfying cleaning effect, bloody a mess. And I think what we want you to take away is essentially that design and engineering went very hand in hand for this. I think without Levi's expertise and kind of even the whole team together, we really wanted to take the time to make sure that this was a polished effect. We also really want to emphasize that we kind of took even maybe simple-ish solutions, but even built upon them to really give that really nice effect of cleaning and bloody messes. And yeah, I think what we did was really awesome. So that's pretty much it. Now we can go into questions, which is pretty cool. If anyone has any questions about anything.
Absolutely
Thank you,
incredible.
Cameron. Thank you,
Well
Abby.
done, team. Look at this.
Yay.
Give it up for this team if you're watching here live in the chat. A big thank you to all of you. We've got some moments throughout the stream where we're going to bring in some more questions. And if anyone has them, please continue to ask them. There's been some good ones asked already, some that I'm going to earmark and kind of pin for later in the show here. But that was incredible. How did you guys... I know this is like kind of meta, but like, how did you feel about the presentation? Did you guys feel like it went well? You did this at GDC, which is so cool, in front of a room of people. How was the experience of doing the presentation itself?
Well,
Abby,
Cameron?
do you want to go first, or do you want me to go?
So to you, I can do it first if you'd like.
Go
well,
ahead. Let me build up the thoughts in my head.
Sounds good. Well, As I mentioned, I was not actually at GDC. I was, shall we say, vacationing. So I have not actually given this talk before publicly. This is Levi's talk. He wrote it. He created all the cool visualizations. He did most of the work that he's talking about too. Um, so this was kind of like a do right by Levi. He'll probably watch this later, or maybe not. But Levi, if you're watching, I hope that's what you wanted. I hope that was good.
I think you guys did Levi proud. Anything to add there, Cameron?
No, yeah, I think I did butcher it quite a bit more online. I'm not gonna lie. I'm way
You're
more tired than
fine.
I was on like when I was presenting. I was so anxious on Monday when I had to present. So I was like, I need to be on guard. But today I was like, I'm with my friends. I'll chill like a little bit, and then everything just
You
went
are
from
with your
there.
friends. You're just hanging out with us.
You
Everything's
are
fine.
with your
Yay!
friends, and
I'm
by
just
extension, the Unity
chilling.
community. Also, a very warm and positive, encouraging community. Lots of very nice things being said throughout. I want you to be aware that there was not a moment where I was like, Cameron's really letting this slip. Oh
I
my
regret letting you guys on here.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
You-
So, crushed it. Very, very excited. Thank you for presenting all of that information, all of that insight. Very fun to see. And I think we can start to kind of pull in some questions and jump into some more of it here. I wanted to kind of take a moment to talk about like the narrative and artistic design, those types of things. We can touch on them really briefly, but there was a series of really good questions that were asked in the chat here as well. From Sin on the Twitch side asked, question for the art direction, and why is the blood colored the way it is? And the Bull also asked a similar question saying, I know some countries take issues with blood and gore. Did you have to do any localizations for anything like that? Can you guys tell us about getting the blood and gore right? Like, was it a difficult process? Was there a lot of iteration on the coloring as well?
Yeah, what's interesting is that I ended up working with our art director, Anna. For the blood, you cannot find red anywhere else in the game. We specifically left red to just be blood. And we ended up doing a lot of different testing for like the saturation of the red, seeing like, because it isn't a dark red. First, we tried like a darker red, like the actual color of blood when it's oxidized. And like it just was too dark. It didn't really fit with the brighter tones of everything else in the environment, especially our blues. Boy, do I love our blues. But it basically ended up being like, okay, we needed to have it bright. It needed to be something that you can immediately see as you're kind of walking around the environment, because it's such an important thing for the player to immediately pick up on and know that, oh, dang, I left blood over there. I need to clean it up or else an NPC might see it. So it's just a thing of like, okay, since the player needs to kind of know where any blood might be in the environment, it needs to be eye-catching. It needs to be something that you'll end up seeing kind of, even if you're just glancing by it in the corner of your screen. Oh, wow. Any hand gestures, you can't see them. But basically, like, it needed to be something that's popping, that's bright. And so we ended up going with that more saturated, lighter red as opposed to a darker blood tone. We didn't actually end up changing the color based on the country. So that remains the same. So we didn't do any type of localization for that, funnily enough.
Although you did have to change the color for certain platforms. On Epic, we
That
weren't
was
allowed. Yeah. So
It's
we weren't allowed to do blood for like our cover image. So we switched it to a
it's
coffee
vomit.
spill.
Nah, it's vomit,
Oh.
coffee,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
birthday cake.
Yes.
And to
On-
be
on
clear,
Apple too.
this does not impact what like the actual gameplay is. But if it's an image that has to be shown on like a storefront home, for example, where like my 5-year-old cousin might be looking at it, legally,
No
my
blood.
5-year-old cousin should not be playing the game, and Apple doesn't want to show it to them. Now, if he downloads the game, well, Michael, go nuts.
We
Thank
have
you.
no
I think that's
jurisdiction once they download.
of course. 5-year-olds not welcome. Wink, I guess.
Well, yeah, because at so many of the conferences that we show this at, families will come up with their kids and go, "Oh, it's a cute little game with like a werewolf, and it's like Animal Crossing. You should play it."
And then
then
blood.
Yeah, and then they start playing it, and the kid's like, "This is rad," and the parents like, "Oh my dear God, like we need to take them off of it right now." So yeah, kids do really like the game, but I'm not sure if the parents like it.
I
While
mean,
we're kind of
some have
go ahead.
bought plushies for their kids. So.
That is a good point. The plushie itself is innocent. It's adorable. It can do no harm. So ultimately, the plushie might be better for the kids than the game itself.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
and if you squeeze it hard enough, it explodes into a cloud of red mist.
Wow! Birthday
Key
cake.
feature.
Birthday
Yes,
cake,
of course,
coffee.
birthday cake. Yeah.
Naturally. Since we bring up
Birthday
Kyle
cake.
here. Yeah, we bringing up Kyle. Kyle, the WereCleaner themselves. How many different iterations of Kyle did we get? Was there like a lot of changing? Like even from the
No.
early art in the presentation, it was like we had our guy, and it's like, was that it? You just crushed it in one again?
Almost. Basically, the only difference of Kyle was between the initial, like, me pitching it to faculty to greenlight the presentation, where
Yeah.
he was in grayscale, and then, like, there was maybe 2 other iterations for what his coloring would be, and that was kind of it. Like, he was brown, blue, and he had those stupid little prey-looking eyes and little tongue hanging out of his mouth, and that was it. I did keep forgetting to include his tongue in almost everything that I drew, though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It is a tough one. Like it is ever present. It's like in every you
Yeah.
spinning around, that tongue is hanging out. It's
Yeah.
really fun to see in all of the cutscenes as well. Correct? Tongue's hanging out.
Tongue's hanging out. I think there's a few frames where it isn't, like that determined look that he had.
Sure.
He didn't have it, but yeah.
And I just want to jump in and say there was actually one other version of Kyle in a piece of concept art where we were considering when he transforms into his werewolf form,
Oh yeah.
or like his ultra kill form when he goes and murders someone, that he would bulk up, but not like in a like cool Hulk kind of way, and like kind of a lanky kind of like freaky creature kind of way.
Cool.
And we decided that was maybe not totally what we wanted.
Yeah, that was when I was still thinking about a different art style.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, no, there was lots of I mean, the game used to be first person as well.
Oh.
So the very
horror
earliest
experience.
stage of the concept pitch was first person.
Cool. Very cool. As Jack, our producer, points out, in like an altered beast kind of way, which is like, now that I say it out loud, is a game from a very long time ago that you probably don't understand, but that's fine. Kind of talking
I
about.
was thinking X-Men.
Okay, there we go.
When you
I'm
said
into
altered
it.
beast.
I'm into it. Talking about some of these other games, were there games that served as major inspirations for you that you want to mention?
Yeah, Party Hard was.
No way.
Party Hard was a good inspiration for us since it was explicitly like going out to kill people. Like obviously in our game it isn't. You're meant to go kill all of these NPCs, but the tone of it, where it was very like, it was funny. It was strategic. You had to plan out how you would do things. That was a bit of an inspiration. Our lead designer Levi hates it when I bring it up, but Hitman was a.
No way. We had someone in chat, in the Twitch chat earlier, be like, this is kind of like Hitman, but he's trying to retire and he just wants to do a good job, but he can't stop killing. And like, wow, okay. Did not expect him to have got that right.
I know, like it's a poor reference just because it's like, yeah, we have stealth mechanics. Like so it's not a great reference.
No, I
yeah,
like it,
exactly, Abby. It's the like.
Well, and the reason Levi is not the biggest fan of that reference is because it's really hard to find a stealth game that's kind of like us. And Hitman is the thing that we would come back to because it's a game where you need to plan out your movements precisely. Like that part of Hitman definitely we take. But I think one of the coolest parts about WereCleaner is it's very uniquely WereCleaner. And that balance between stealth and arcade was something that we played around with a lot. And we ended up leaning more towards arcade. But I think generally we explain it as a stealth game because, you don't want to kill people, right? It's best to avoid if you can. So Hitman's the simplest thing that we come back to. But yeah, we've never found like a perfect 100% stealth ref for the game that matches what we have in the final version.
Yeah.
The best cleaning reference was Power Washer Simulator, because Power Washer Wow,
Yes.
no, go figure.
There we go. I mean, it's
Uh,
interesting. I love having the conversation of inspiration with a lot of people that make games because it is like some are like, oh, we basically tried to make this but switched this thing. And other pieces are like, we took the smallest portion from one game and we wanted to do something similar to that. So it sounds like you guys taking that inspiration from really kind of broad, different. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by Kyle headbutting a warehouse worker in the back of the head. But taking kind of inspiration from everywhere and pulling it in and making something so completely unique. Like you said, it's really hard to find anything that is at all similar to this game because of just the unique angles that you approached it from. So I think it's incredible.
Thank you.
We have a little bit more that I want to talk to you guys about. But again, in the community, if you're watching, if you have any questions for the team, please throw them in the chat. We have that moment coming up shortly here as well. And we'll try to get through as many of the questions as we can. I kind of want to talk about the future for you guys. A little bit about you specifically, a little bit about the product, the project together. Just to get started, not all of you have fully graduated, correct? Some of you are still in this program. To me, it's wild to think about not just the level of success, but the level of success and being like, wow, created a fantastic game. Back to school tomorrow. Like, wow, accepted an award on stage / watched it happen from Cabo. Got to get back to classes next week. Like, so some of you are still working. Have some of you found jobs in the industry? Where are you all at? And Mason, we'll start with you and just go around, I guess.
What's funny is that I'm currently doing a master's at the GPenn Institute of Technology.
Cool.
So I did graduate last year when we first published the game from USC, but I was in like, oh, let's go learn more about 3D art.
Cool.
So now I'm doing a master's program.
I love that. You're still in school, but not the same school.
Yep, not the same.
Didn't even consider that.
I
as an
know.
option. Cameron, what about you? What have you moved towards now?
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like such a turn from my actual major. So I did graduate last year, but my major was electrical and computer engineering, and I thought I was
Whoa.
like, I'll go work for something that I probably am not very passionate about, but I'll do it. Yeah, and so games is such a turn. I recently I'm doing part-time work for Tapblaze, which is a mobile game company in LA, which is very awesome. And I'm considering going back to school to get my master's in computer science to spend a little more time in like things that I feel like I missed out on. So we'll see. But that's currently I'm also helping out with a lot of game projects from students at USC. So that's been very fun.
I like that a lot. Being able to kind of go back and help the next generation of creators, which is very cool. Charlie, you're out and you're working. What have you managed to do for yourselves?
Yeah, so I graduated a semester early, so I'm only like a couple months out of school.
Overachiever here.
Thank you to all of the AP classes that I took. But yeah, so I graduated a little bit early, and I got a job at this place called Blue Ocean Games, which is this really cool indie game fund that is going to go live in public in just a couple of weeks, where our mission is kind of like we want to help support indie creators, especially in the very early stages of development, even before they have a playable demo or prototype to show publishers. And the way that we do that is we're going to host a series of bi-monthly game jams starting in May, where people can submit their games, work on them for a month. And then if you win the competition, not only do you get a cash prize, but you get the chance to pitch to the fund for funding up to $300,000 of it. So it's a really cool opportunity. Once it goes public, I highly encourage you all to look up Blue Ocean Games. Again, the link is not public right now, but yeah, if you're an indie creator and you want some funding, it'll be dope. It'll be really cool.
That is very cool. And I feel like, especially the amount of work that I do talking to indie developers, there needs to be more like that. So it's awesome
100%.
that there are people working towards it right now. Abby's still in school. How long you have until you're until you're done?
Oh boy, like slightly over a month. But still in class. I'm ditching linear algebra to be here, which is very worth it. Like, thank you guys for getting me out.
If you need us to write you a note,
I got you,
can
Abby.
do that.
I'll
I was
send you a
on the
link to the
Unity
stream.
live
How about that?
stream.
That would be fantastic. I would love to write a note just being like, here's word from the community manager at Unity. Please do not scold Abby for missing this class. We needed them here.
We needed her.
I love that. We have a couple of questions coming in as well that are a little bit on the topic of your future as well. M. Coco asking, what's the team's next game? Has there been any consideration of like keeping the team together and creating more, creating a sequel, working together again in the near future?
We're trying to do a second game.
Don't break any NDAs. I get the
I
sense
mean, the
that we might
NDAs
be
would
threaded
be
into
with
it.
myself. That's why there was a but
Gotcha.
hopefully trying to do a second game, looking for publishers at the moment.
Cool.
Not keeping the whole team together because oh boy, that was a huge team.
That's a big team.
Don't need 35. Don't need 35 people. But in okay. In the
just I saw here.
Just
I'm big. All right, it's just me.
I'm
now.
big.
All
Okay.
right.
But yeah, well, it's so hoping to do that. We'll see if anything happens with it. Yeah, I don't have any more news on that front.
Yeah.
Understood. It's TBD. We'll call it TBD.
Yeah, it's very TBD. Trying to make it happen. Want to make it happen because people want more, and I'd like to give people more because I love our little guy. I love a little guy, and I really enjoyed working on the first game with people, and I want to do more.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many people at conferences that will come up to me and go like, are you crazy for not like immediately trying to do something or make a sequel or a DLC or something like that? So we're trying to the best of our ability to get more content out there. But yeah, we've really loved all the support and appreciation from the community. And even if something doesn't happen now, I have a feeling that like this team is absolutely going to stick together and be friends. And, maybe one day down the line, some more stuff will happen too. But yeah, sequel is the concern for the current moment.
Yeah.
If it isn't WereCleaner, it'll be something else.
Cool. I'd be excited to see it for sure. I think it's advice that I've seen many of my colleagues give when we go to events as part of Unity, where people are like, oh, I need tips. We're at schools. What should I do? Here's portfolio. But the kind of unwritten thing that not enough people I think are talking about is your network. And it starts for you all having met fantastically talented people and created something so cool. And Charlie, you touched on it a bit. It might be something that like years down the line, you're like, oh shoot, I need a person. Who do I know that I've worked really well with in the past? Like it makes such a difference. So I have no doubt in my mind that the future is bright for you all, and that whether you connect again in future or you break away and do your own things, I'm very, very excited to see what you create here. What do you guys have basically dream ambitions? Like if you could jump forward into the future and live your dream job, do you have that kind of vision for yourselves?
I know that I want to do the same thing that I ended up doing on WereCleaner. I'd want to continue being a creative director, hopefully of my own indie studio.
Awesome.
So like, yeah, just
if you need funding, I heard of someone working
Blue Ocean
to get some funding for you.
Oh,
I like it. Big ambition. Cameron, do you have big goals, dreams in life? Let's get deep. Tell me your ambitions, your hopes for the future.
Your fears.
Yeah.
At 10 a.m. That's crazy. It's Charlie's me. Don't worry. That's such a good question. I actually don't know. I think my main goal always is just to continue to help others in a way that I think is like, bringing entertainment is fun, and I like making games that have that impact on others. And so I kind of want to continue to be a part of projects where I can do that. I also really enjoy leading engineering. I think it's really fun. Hopefully I'm like a-okay at it, and I think the only way to get better is by doing it more. And so hopefully I have more opportunities like that to do that in the future. But wherever I am, hopefully it's somewhere fun. Hopefully it's with some good people, and yeah, that's it.
Love that. You've described the inner drive of a community manager. I just like to help people do stuff, and I want to have fun. So, you very clearly have a exceptional technical mind, but if that's not working for you and you need to change it up, community management sounds like it might check those boxes for you.
Heck,
Charlie, you're doing it. You're making it happen already. But what is the pie in the sky, the dream for you?
I think that there's a couple pie in the sky dreams that would be fun. I mean, definitely working at an indie studio, being a creative director or lead producer or something along those lines. That's like the most fun thing in the world because you have all the creative control. You get to make, the ideas that you want to make. So, years down the line, once I have, hopefully worked at a bunch of different companies and gotten a lot of different perspectives, I could go and do that. But one of the other things that I really like doing is I like working on like the education side of games. Like I feel very fortunate because how I got into games was by a random class at my public high school. And it was a game development class. And we did like several year-long projects where I was a lead producer. And that's how I effectively got into USC. And it's crazy to me that there's not more opportunities for high school kids in game development because a lot of them know that this is something that they're interested in, or they're not sure about going into CS, but they think that games could be fun. And it would be really cool eventually to work with people to get more programs like that out there, or at least, visit more classes, inspire more people, show them that this is a career path that, at least for me, has been really cool and fun. So yeah, hopefully education gets a little bit better and we can start implementing more of those programs.
I love it. I love it. I like that you guys have such a I'd like to give back approach most of the way through here. Abby, what are you thinking for your future?
Well, that's a hard follow-up. That was a very, very strong mission-driven
It's not a
one,
competition.
Charlie.
It's
Now
not a
you're setting me up.
competition.
Yeah, Abby, one up me. Come on, I dare you.
Well, so what I will say is this: I'm one of the people on the team who's not. I wasn't really going to go into games originally. I'm not
Cool.
necessarily just in games. My general thing is I want to make things that are hopefully useful to people in some form. And games definitely do that, but there's a lot of other avenues where, like, I don't know, just make stuff basically that actually benefits people and isn't just a deterrent to society in general. I guess that's my broad thing.
No, I like it. It's great. It's great. Listen, I'm springing real big questions on you, and like you mentioned, it's 10 a.m. Also, there's a lot of time to figure it out. So I hope that my really aggressive question didn't put too much pressure on you. Thank you all for answering. And with that, we've come to the portion of the show where we'd like to pull in as many questions from the community as we are able to. I've been collecting them. If you have more Unity community, feel free to ask of this wonderful team, whether it's about the game, the creative process, about the team specifically. Please let us know. Bringing in a fun one from Twitch, Ollie asks, did Cameron's character have fangs? Or maybe I misinterpreted the graphics. I need to know if there's a vampire update Easter egg where maybe Kyle has a poltergeist making a mess behind him instead. Fun.
Well, Cameron, I feel like this needs to go to you. Yeah? What are you
I
in the
mean,
game?
it's kind of both of us. I mean, what am I in the game? Hummus?
I did
Okay,
make
I'll
your
tell you the
NPC,
really quick
but yeah.
story. Yeah, you did. Let me tell you the quick story of how I figured out that I was going to be a vampire in the game. Our narrative lead sends me a text, says, "Hey, I'm with Moose. Can we make you a vampire in the game? Because you kind of just don't sleep." And I don't. I never slept during our entire senior year because I had too many things going on. And so
Yeah,
I
both
was
up at
busy
3
as
a.m.
heck. And I was up until 3 a.m. Moose was with me, so I don't know. I don't know why I get the slack, but we
Yeah.
were up together. And they're like, "Hey, can you be the vampire in our game?" And so I am the like sort of lore in the game, I guess, of just being this vampire randomly doing my job, not sleeping. And that's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks.
there's
Sweet.
also a narrative collectible that mentions you being a vampire potentially.
Oh yeah, it's a narrative clip.
Yeah, it's the steak and garlic.
Potentially. You don't know.
So,
Just
It
alludes
is.
to, but
Alludes
Yeah.
we
to.
are able to confirm here for the first, maybe
Yes.
the first time.
Now it's
Yeah,
been
breaking-
confirmed in the
breaking
Discord
news.
server.
We got a breaking news banner that needs to go up.
Breaking
This
news.
is- We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this breaking news.
Cameron is in fact the vampire. You've never seen her in daylight. I don't know
Yes.
if you have, but I know I certainly haven't. And
Yeah,
they're
that's
both-
true. It's true.
Yes.
I can vouch.
Yes.
I want to bring in
No,
a question from the YouTube
have to
chat
agree
here
with it,
from
yeah.
the
Yeah.
Bull. Says, what would you go back and change if you could? Looking back at something as artistically driven as a video game, there's inevitably a moment in my experience from the conversations that I have where it's like art's never finished. You simply release it. You simply,
Yeah.
it is out there. Is there anything that you kind of look at your own game and you're like, oh, I wish I'd make tweaks there. I would make changes.
One
I have
thing
one.
that I was so sad that we weren't able to do, everyone knows what I'm going to say, I have a feeling, is okay, focus. It's a slight jump scare every time it happens. But what we wanted to do with our vacuum was, you know how you can pick up dead bodies?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what we wanted to do was so that you'd be able to suck a body part into the vacuum and drag the person behind you as you go.
Oh, very
And
cool.
they would have ragdolled in a very weird manner. You would have been able to grab their head, their arm, their foot, and then just drag them along with you. And we got it like half working for like a second, but it took so long to even get to that point, about a month, that we just had to say, no, we have to stop here. It's not gonna, if we spend any longer on this, it's just not worth it. We have other things to focus on. It's not, no, we got to move on. Thank you, Charlie, for giving me the reality check, because I was holding on.
There was a moment where you were like, no, this needs to happen. And Charlie was like, listen, it just can't.
It
Is
just
that how
can't.
went?
It just can't. It just won't. So
like-
See,
stop.
and this happens all the time where I'm portrayed as the no guy on WereCleaner. One of my favorite
No,
jobs on WereCleaner with Moose is that I would be the one pitching the
tell me
craziest
things.
additions to the game
Yeah.
all the
You
time.
would tell me shit.
Yeah, Moose. But I thought what you were going to say, Moose, for your edition that we all know is the
yeah.
best edition of the game, is very early on in development. This was prototype. This was put into a version of the WereCleaner. You could drive a Zamboni.
Oh yeah, the Zamboni.
That's
You
what I
could
was gonna say.
drive around a cleaning car, and it would allow you to move through levels faster. You would bounce off of walls and do all this
Racing
fun
game.
stuff. And Levi, because he's a buzzkill, I guess, decided not to put it in.
Drag
He's the
Levi
one
while
who
he's not
initially
here.
put it in
Yeah,
anyway.
so yeah, I'm very sad it wasn't in. I've pitched it 1,000 times, it never got in.
But it never worked.
It
It
never
would have been
worked.
weird.
No, is it a bad idea? Yes.
It-
Is it the
it
Yes,
never
it's a
worked.
bad idea for
Well,
the game that we were actually making. So that's the
I
thing.
think
Bad
the cool
idea
thing
for
with
what
bad
we're
ideas is they're just good ideas in disguise, right?
Yes,
Like,
exactly. Thank you,
If
Abby.
we were doing Subway Surfers, the way
Abby, tell them about
Abby
Subway
did
Surfers.
make for a
Tell them, Abby.
devlog.
so okay, we
Uh,
did YouTube devlogs, and some of y'all maybe you watch them. They're on our YouTube channel. They're still up. But we made a couple of those, and I kind of just had a goofy idea for a bit where it's like, oh, I'm gonna like explain a very technical concept, so we're going to have like Subway Surfers gameplay playing inside, and then I was like, well,
Beautiful.
technically we can't do that, and we might get copyright struck, you know. So I made our own Subway Surfers version inside of the game build. I think it might still ship
is
in the
still
final
there.
version. It's still there. Oh god,
I think it's
should've
still
removed
there. I
that.
think
Still, yeah,
someone
no, it's
found it.
still there. I don't think it was. It's still there.
Anyway, it's fully playable. It's like a little Subway Surfers knockoff with like obstacles and stuff.
Okay.
Daryl is
For the
big
one stupid video bit for a video that got like 10K views total.
dog.
I mean, hey, 10K is nothing to snuff at. That's an impressive number. And I found your devlogs and I put them in the chat. So if anyone wants to go and check out the devlogs, very fun stuff. I mean, talk to me a little bit about that. I know this is off the cuff a little bit, but talk to me about engaging with your community throughout the development process. It's something that I think we see more of. Something that I'm just genuinely curious about as someone who creates content and tries to bring together the community. Do you think that builds a deeper bond with the players of your game to be able to show them the development over time, the process, the inner workings, those types of moments?
We didn't actually end up having our community during development. We ended up basically, Abby, when was it? Was it just like after initially launching? We ended
Yeah,
up doing
it was
the Discord
post-launch.
server?
We
Yeah.
did the devlogs. We did a few things like that. Very minimal. And when I say it got 10K views, that is after the boost that we had. I think originally it had like 500 views or something like that. We didn't really find an audience pre-release, and part of that is that, you know, we didn't have good footage. We didn't have a lot of kind of the content. And it really was a few Twitch streamers and then an initial wave of attention on Steam and the stores that got us interest. And then we were like, well, we should have a Discord server. We didn't have it at launch, so we just kind of made it, and it kind of went from there. And I think the cool thing about having this BTS content from before the game came out is that we do have a very honest view of like what was the game before release, and a lot of people have come back to those. One of the videos have like 100K views, so people got something out of it.
I think that's awesome. I think also you created this game as students. You weren't a paid studio necessarily, and then your game finds success. You guys have gone above and beyond to kind of continue to cultivate your community, manage your community spaces, create these devlogs post-launch. Is there any connection to the actual school project at this point, or are you guys just you're doing it? You're doing the thing on your own now.
I mean, just kind of doing it like, I mean, there's obviously still connection with the game itself, but then
Sure.
in terms of it needing to be for the class we were making
Yeah.
the game for, or like anything like that, nah. We were just like, oh wow, we've got a community, and it's awesome to be able to chat with people who love the game. Like, so we just wanted to cultivate that and
That's so cool.
like have fun in their fun.
Yeah. Have you? So I know you were at GDC and the IGF Awards, things like that. Have you been able to connect with any of your community members in person? Have you had moments where people run up to you and you're like, I recognize you from your vampire in game? Like, have you found, I don't want to say celebrity status, but have you had these moments of people recognizing your work in public?
It's weird to like, I have some stickers on my computer, and some folks have ended up being like, oh, I love that game, and then it's like, oh,
Made that one.
Hi.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Anyone
Anyone
else have
else?
any stories to share? Anyone in?
I have one very funny story where I was actually with one of the other devs on the team. I was at a kind of like Halloween, basically club event in like Hollywood. And I think I was like, one of us was wearing like, we had some type of like WereCleaner merch, or maybe it was like a water bottle or something. And someone came up to us at the club and was like, oh, I love your game. And we're just like,
No way.
what just happened?
Yeah.
What? And it was still kind of early on, so it was like they must have been our diehard fan. If they're watching, like, shout out, seriously.
That's awesome. I like it a lot. Pulling in some more questions from the community here. Mr. Awesome on the YouTube chat asked, did the team use any of the assets from the asset store from the game?
Yes, we did actually. The art style, I specifically wanted something to where it was like, it was not generic enough, but like it would, yeah, thank you. It would hit enough bases where basically the things that we look for in assets would be chunky, simple, and generally like sorry, generally like you could pull it from a lot of places and then do tweaks in order to make it fit the style. And so a lot of our assets actually, like that projector, not the chairs, the whiteboards, the no, not the water cooler, the pinboard, the what else on screen? Those a lot of the plants actually, like the Monstera plant that was down in the corner. The lamp, the
well, and we had so many at one point that, especially early on, we had a entire scene in the project dedicated to all of the Unity assets that we had taken from the store, and we would show it to faculty and go, and we would show it to faculty and go, look, aren't we so productive? Like, look, we found all these assets for our game, and they would go, yeah, like I hope they look good finally. So yeah, I think they ended up really informing our art style actually, and it was great to have the Unity asset store as like a resource for us, because I really don't think we would have been able to achieve the art scope of this game without it.
Yeah, it was good.
I love it. I love it. Nick V in the Twitch chat asking, where could we get WereCleaner stickers?
Well, we have a Redbubble. Yeah, we have a Redbubble. I think I don't know if I can pull up the link to give you right now.
I've got it.
You got it?
Hit me with
Perfect.
it. We'll get it out to the people. If you want stickers, we'll get you stickers, everybody.
Get you stickers.
We'll get you stickers. Thank you for that.
We have stickers. I think you can do a mug. The coolest piece of merch is this giant poster of the entire game's map.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to pick one up myself for it. It's so cool.
Well, I'm going to open this in a tab in my own browser, and I'll be checking it out after the stream. We want to bring in a question here from Sinatra GG says, how long did it take developing the system from start to end?
The system?
When I say the system, I believe the question came in while we were diving deep into the actual cleaning itself. So the blood and clean.
Cameron, I want you to expand this, but I remember that you said during the presentation at GDC that it was basically the entire like development time of the WereCleaner, so like a year.
Okay.
I'd
Okay.
say like a year, but like I think the actual mechanic itself was like pretty much. I think we knew what we wanted summer. We had a lot of everything prototype summer, which was really great. And so I think having that baseline always helped us to kind of continue to iterate on it. So like the feature itself, pretty much I would say like yeah, we had it up and running with summer. It was working, but the way that we wanted it to be polished and like final game kind of type deal, that was definitely we kind of continued to like work on it throughout. Um, Production or development. And I would say I think Power Washer actually got finished during fall, if I'm not wrong, because I remember Levi
think
finished
you're
that
right.
very, very fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was like 2 weeks. Oh wait, no, that wasn't
It
during
was
fall.
2
That
weeks.
was spring. But it was
That
like
was
2
that
weeks.
was great. It was very fast. I just remember Levi was like, "I'm done," and I was like, "Okay, that's awesome."
Levi's a
Yeah.
legend. Shout out
He
to
truly
Levi.
is.
Levi is a
Yeah.
He
legend.
truly is.
He really
Shout out
is.
to Levi. And Sinatra, thank you very much for your question. I think we have maybe time for one more. So let's dive in here to a question from Austin Burkett. Says, what was the biggest technical issue that the team encountered regarding optimization / performance while managing blood generation? Abby, I saw
Awesome
you
question.
immediately cover your face.
Yeah,
Did you have
reacted,
horror
yes. So-
flashbacks?
For
Slightly. Like
Okay.
the game was originally only on PC. We decided to put it on mobile like March or April, I think, and the game came out like a
March.
month later or something like that. So it was a crazy turnaround. And when we got it on, I think it was running at like 15 FPS or something on iOS. So we basically had to go through and we hadn't done, I think, a lot of premature optimization where you build the system to be insanely optimized from the start, which was good. It allowed us to debug and like fine tune it. But we had to do a pass on the entire game. For Blood, it was basically putting in a bunch of layers of optimizations of like, if you have to check 500 pieces of blood, how do we filter that down? For anyone who cares in the chat, we basically used like a quad tree to partition parts of the space up. So if you're in the left side of the map, you only check nearby blood, and that saved up a lot of time. A bunch of animation changes, visual changes, CPU, like I could throw around all the buzzwords.
Mhm.
Yes, thinking emoji, Charlie put in the internal chat. But it came together. I will say my personal biggest regret on the game is that I wish we got it a bit faster for Android, because that part is definitely tough. We kind of pushed it to the limits of what we can do without rewriting a bunch of core stuff in the game.
Mhm. I love it. Thank you again for sharing. Again, like I keep saying thank you, but ultimately we prepare a whole bunch of things ahead of time. I tell you guys, hey, here are these questions. So as soon as we're like, we're going to pull questions from the community, you guys are all kind of on the spot a little bit. So I am genuinely grateful that you guys are willing to and eager to answer these questions. I know I said we had one more, but I want to bring in one additional question here because
a second
short,
one more.
simple, exactly. But wait, there's
There's
something
more.
else. Yeah. Regardy Tech on the Twitch side asking about the lighting in the game. How is it made? Is it all real time or are they pre-baked shadows and so on?
Ooh, it is a single directional light.
There you go.
There
we go.
And
that's why
it's real time. Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah.
it is real.
Okay.
With
So
a very simple cell shader, if you've like know how like a lot of games do it, like the Wind Waker or something, exact same thing. Very simple.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, there is no one more. We did it. I knew that one would be a short one. I felt like that was something that we could contain in just a few seconds here. But with that, we've come to the end of our stream. WereCleaner team, Mason, Cameron, Charlie, Abby, thank you all so very much for spending time with us here today, for repurposing the GDC presentation, for showing off your tech, for showing off your game. Congratulations on the incredible success that your game has found so far. 1.5 million players, again, available on Steam, Apple and Android stores, as well as the Epic Store. So please go and check out this game, Unity community. Again, thank you so much, team, for being here. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody else, and then we'll chat again. But Unity community, give it up for the WereCleaner team. Thank you guys again very, very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for
This
having
was
us.
lovely.
Of course.
Yeah.
Honestly, come back anytime. Let's find something. You guys are working on something new, whatever. We're going to find some time for you guys. Thank you again. And with that Unity community, it's just you and me. As we wind down this stream here, I'm putting a survey in the chat. This survey, one question. What is something you would like to learn on these live streams? Again, we are looking to ramp up our scheduling to twice a week. Right now, we are here every Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. That's 12 noon Eastern, and as of next week will be 5 p.m. GMT because of daylight savings. So thank you all for being here. We hope that you feel inspired, like you've learned something, and that you feel connected to your community. Fill out that survey. It's, again, what do you want to learn? Whether it's engine specific and you want technical tutorials, we can look for that. If you're looking for indie game dev learnings in general, hop in there and let us know. It is my job to bring you all of this live stream content, and I want to bring you content that you connect with. Speaking of new and exciting content, we have our next stream available already. The event is live. We will be back next Thursday. That's April the 3rd. Again, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. GMT. And we're bringing in a UI expert to talk to us about how to build a beautiful skill tree, one that actually makes sense and your users can understand at a glance. We will be opening up UI Toolkit, so this will be a much more technically focused stream. So make sure to check that out. The link is in chat. The event is available on YouTube. Everybody in the chat, make sure to check out the Discord and the discussions pages to stay connected to the Unity community. And again, come back next Thursday as we are going to kick off a wonderful string of excellent content. Thank you all very much for being here, for joining, for lurking, for watching, for chatting, for asking wonderful questions. Until I see you all again, Unity community, my name is Jackson. Have a great rest of your day.